What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. If you are new here and you like true crime content, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. This is the second part to probably several parts of the breakdown of all of the new documents that have come out in the Bryan Kohberger case. If you are not familiar with that case, there are a ton of videos out there. I have one on my channel as well that cover the case in depth. And this case was completely sealed and nothing could be put out, no police reports, nothing at all. And everything finally came out. Well, not everything, but a good majority of stuff came out on Wednesday, about 3 hours after Bryan Kohberger was sentenced. So all of us true crime sleuths and media people are combing through this evidence or these documents and just trying to understand. We all want to understand and try to get that reason why, and maybe find something that somebody else missed and just share it with everybody. So we're going to go ahead and pop into, we're on the 6th supplemental narrative for the Moscow Police Department. And if you are just clicking this video, this is part 2. Part 1 will be previous, obviously. So that has 1 through 5. This will be probably 6 through 10-ish. So this one is on 11/13/2022 at around 1300 hours. I was advised by Captain Barrett to respond to work due to a homicide investigation. I was told to remain available for calls for service. At around 1630 hours, I relieved Officer Rosinski on the north side of 1122 King Road. I was stationed for scene security and helped keep a log of who entered and exited the crime scene. Officer Smith entered at 1700 hours and exited at 1725 hours. ISP Talbot entered at 1700 hours and left at 1740 hours. CPL Payne entered at 1700 hours and exited at 1723 hours. PA Jennings entered at 17. So we kind of get the gist. This is just a log of who went in, went out, who was relieved. On 11/13/2022, at about 1200 hours, Captain Barrett called me and informed me there had been multiple victims of a homicide located in a residence on King Road and requested all available detectives. I called Detective Vargas and was informed she was out of town and would be back in Moscow on Monday morning. I called Detective Mowry, and he informed me he would be on his way shortly. I called ISP Lieutenant Mike Mooney and told him I need assistance from ISP detectives in processing the crime scene. Lieutenant Mooney put me in contact with Sergeant Gilbertson. I briefed Sergeant Gilbertson on what I knew, and he told me he would start to assemble his team. I responded to this scene where I met with Sergeant Gunderson. Sergeant Gunderson informed me that the officers were dispatched to an unconscious person at 1122 King Road. To the scene where I met Sergeant Gunderson. Sergeant Gunderson informed me that the officers were dispatched to an unconscious person at 1122 King Road, and that this is when they found 4 deceased college-age people in the residence. I told Sergeant Gunderson I needed someone from his team to return to the police department to start writing an affidavit for a search warrant. Sergeant Gunderson asked Officer Nunes to handle that task. I then did a very brief walk through the residence. I entered the residence from the entrance of the north side of the building. Officer Warner, who was securing the scene, logged my entrance into the residence. I then went up the stairs and located a deceased female on the floor, a male in the bed in the west bedroom on the 2nd floor. I climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor and located 2 deceased females to the southeast bedroom. They were both in the bed. I spoke with Officer Smith, who was securing the residence at the south entrance for a moment. Then I exited the residence through the north entrance. Officer Warner noted my departure. I called Sergeant Gilbertson and informed him of the additional informative provided to me and what I had seen. I told him MPD would be needing their assistance. I also told Sergeant Gilbertson MPD had an officer writing an affidavit for a search warrant. I returned to the police department where I met with Sergeant Blaker and CPL Payne, whom I called earlier and requested they respond to the PD. At this time, Detective Mowry was at the police department. I requested they interview the other occupants of the residence where the deceased were located. There were also several friends of the deceased who had been with the deceased the night before and may have had some information of their whereabouts and who they were with prior to the murders. Those interviews started at about 13:48 hours. Those to be interviewed arrived at the PD about 13:30 hours. I put them in the training room and provided them with drinks and snacks. Captain Lanier arrived and asked me how he could help. I requested he find officers that were not already tasked with a complete canvass of the neighborhood. Captain Lanier took care of the neighborhood canvassing. At about 14:23 hours, the redacted Xana arrived at the PD. He was informed of Xana's death by Captain Dallinger. Captain Barrett informed me Ethan Chapin's family had been notified of Ethan's death. Captain Barrett asked me to take care of the death notification for Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez. Captain Barrett provided me with information the university had on file for Mogan and Gonzalez. There was no emergency contact information for either, so I called Kootenai County Dispatch due to Mogan and Gonzalez's home address being in the Kootenai County. I provided redacted the KCSO dispatcher of the addresses listed with the university for Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez. Redacted told me she had the names redacted and redacted listed as residents of the addresses provided for Kaylee Gonzalez. I requested a death notification for them. I was contacted by Deputy Mitch Jan from KCSO. He asked what he could tell the parents, and I informed him. We knew very little at this time. A short time later, Deputy Jan called me and told me that when he arrived to give the notification, the parents were already aware. I also provided Madison Mogan's address, and redacted was not able to locate anyone with the name Mogan at that address. Redacted said she would send a PD officer by the residence to make contact. A short time later, Officer Matt redacted. A short time later, Officer Matt Sykes requests I call him. When I made contact with Officer Sykes, he told me redacted of Madison Mogan were driving to Moscow. About 20 minutes after my conversation with Officer Sykes, the redacted arrived. I think this is the Laramies, Maddie Mogan's stepfather and mother, arrived at the PD. Captain Barrett gave the death notification. Captain Barrett requested I interview them. I spoke with Scott and Karen in the lobby interview room. They told me they had a great relationship with Madison. She got along with everyone. She had a strong relationship with her boyfriend, redacted, who lives in Boise, and that she had gone to Boise to see him the weekend prior. Madison and redacted had been dating for about a year and a half, and redacted is from redacted. I asked if there were any problems with past boyfriends, and there were none to their knowledge. I asked if Madison had mentioned any stalking behavior from anyone or anyone that made her uncomfortable, and she said she had never spoke of anything. The rest of my shift was spent allocating resources where they were needed. That is all for 7. On 11/13/2022, I received a phone call advising me there was a quadruple homicide at 1122 King Road. I arrived to the Moscow Police Department, put on my police-issued uniform, and relieved Officer Warner at the above address, who is currently holding scene security and maintaining a log of who came in and out of the apartment at the front door, which is on the north side of the apartment. I was on scene for about 2 hours until I was relieved by Officer Morris, who took over my duties. The following day, on 11/14/2022, I learned that a sheath was found inside the apartment. The sheath was tan in color and had a Marine Corps Eagle globe and anchor EGA symbol on the sheath. The words USMC were located under the EGA and K bar was above the EGA. I was tasked to follow up with businesses in town and see if that particular knife was sold there. I followed up with Tri-State Outfitters. Big Five Sporting Goods, Moscow Building Supply, Spence Hardware, and Walmart. Each of the above stores did not sell a K-bar. While at Walmart, I was speaking with a staff member, redacted, named listed on the tag, who was showing me the knives on display. She told me about 2 to 3 weeks ago, a white college-age male asked for a black ski mask that would cover his face. This is new. I have not seen this. Redacted was unable to provide much detail other than he was taller than she was, maybe had tan skin complexion. Redacted said she advised the male they did not have any black ski masks and only camo. Redacted said the male then walked away. On 11/14/2022 at about 11:45 hours, I spoke with Redacted at the Memorial Gym substation. Redacted is currently the Redacted for the fraternity. Redacted. I asked Redacted if he could walk me through what he did on the night of 11/12/22. He was at a party. Redacted said the party was at the Treehouse, which is an off-site campus house for the sorority. Redacted did not know the specific address, but said the house is near the White's apartments. Redacted said at the party he saw Redacted, who was with Redacted, boyfriend unknown name, maybe Redacted. Redacted said Redacted was the only member of Redacted that he recognized at the party. Redacted said he left around 2200 or 2300 hours. Redacted said he went back to Redacted and watched a movie with Redacted. All Redacted. Redacted said he went to the corner club around 0149 hours on 11/13/2022 to pick up Redacted, and Redacted. Redacted said they were alone and not with anyone. Redacted said he dropped the 3 above individuals off at their apartment off King Road. Redacted said he dropped them off. He went home. Next one in 10 minutes. On 11/14/2022 at approximately 1100 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in regards to follow-up. I took note of who came and went from the scene. ISP detectives as well as Sergeant Blacker, Detective Vargas, and prosecuting attorneys entered the residence. Redacted arrived shortly after with the cadaver dogs to attempt and locate a blood trail from the residence. ISP entered the residence at 11:25 hours. Detective Vargas entered at 11:26 hours and left at 12:26 hours. Sergeant Blacker entered at 11:27 hours, exited, entered, same thing. Redacted arrived with their K9 at 13:16. They all remained in the area until 14:21. Everyone cleared the scene and the residence was secured again at 14:21 hours. I stood by on scene for security until relieved. I cleared the residence at 1600 hours. Then Officer Rosinski relieved me. All right, we're going to finish this one out. On November 12th, 2022, at about 2100 hours, I began an overtime shift for a plainclothes detail on the University of Idaho campus and related areas. This patrol was for minors in possession and consumption of alcohol, along with other alcohol drug offenses. During this patrol, I and the other officer with me, Officer Rosendahl, only had our body-worn cameras. We were operating out of the Moscow Police Department Ford Fusion, which I drove throughout the entire detail. This particular department vehicle did not have a dash camera or any other recording device. My street time conducting the plain clothes detail concluded at 0352 hours on November 13, 2022. During this detail, Officer Rosendale and I made several patrols through the area of King Street and Queen Road. During each patrol of the area, we traveled on the north side of 500 Queen Road. Heading east, we wrapped around the building, heading south on east side, then west side on the south side of the complex. We then traveled north on the west side, turned west on Queen Road, and proceeded to King Street. During one of the patrols in the areas, while approaching the southwest corner of 500 Queen Road, I recall seeing a darker colored vehicle with taillights on. This vehicle was parked facing south on the south side of the parking lot towards the west end. There was a short section of the parking lot which extended to the west of 500 Queen Road, south of 1122 King Street, which was where the vehicle was. Each time we patrolled this area, I drove the same route. During the final patrol, which to the best of my recollection was between 0200 and 0300 hours on November 13, 2022. As we traveled north on the west side of the apartment complex, I saw several individuals approaching the residence of 1122 King Street. During this detail, I was looking for alcoholic beverages, open alcoholic containers, and individuals who appeared to be intoxicated. I observed the individuals as I drove past, but did not see any reason to contact them for our related patrol. I recall my view of the individuals being obstructed by vehicles and brush on the east side of the parking lot of 1122 King Street. The individuals were walking close to a vehicle which was parked in the northeast corner of the lot. As I turned onto Queen Road and traveled west, I continued to view the individuals from my recollection, and there was at least two individuals, possibly three. I recall one of the individuals having blonde hair. I do not recall exactly how many individuals there were, what they were wearing, or other details as I quickly looked for beverages in their hands and whether they were staggering from intoxication. Since we made several patrols through the area, I cannot say with 100% confidence I saw the vehicle on the same path as I saw the individuals. Upon review of my radio history, I contacted three individuals at redacted Taylor Avenue at about 0255 hours. To the best of my recollection, this was after exiting King Street. After seeing the individuals at 1122 King Street, we cleared this contact at 0332 hours. On 11/14/22 at about 22:42 hours, dispatch advised they were forwarding a call to my cell phone. My phone briefly started to ring, but then it suddenly stopped. For some reason, the call was forwarded to voicemail before I could answer. When the voicemail came through to my phone, I learned it was from Redacted. The voicemail said, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Redacted. My phone number is Redacted. I just wanted to make a statement to you guys because I was close friends with Maddie Mogan. I was with her at the corner club most of the night, and then after we left, we wanted to go to John's Alley, and we went to stopped at Grub Truck." These typos are kind of all over the place. They got Grub Truck, then a car picked them up, and they left and went home. Just wanted to make a statement about unintelligible. I don't know if anything is helpful, but I was just with them like for a little bit, so if I can be any help, I would like to. Give me a call. Thank you. Shortly after I got the voicemail, Redacted called dispatch again and was successfully transferred to my phone. At about 22:46 hours, I talked to Redacted on the phone. Redacted essentially said the same thing he said in the voicemail. He left. Redacted said he was out with Maddie at the corner club until about 02:30 hours. Redacted said several times he did not know who the other girl was with them that night. Redacted described the girls getting into a silver sedan after they got food at the grub truck. I confirmed Redacted to his parents' house. I confirmed Redacted's name, date of birth, address, and phone number. I also confirmed Redacted. He drove to his parents' house at Redacted in Boise. I asked Redacted how long he planned to be at his parents' house, and he said he was skipping the next week of classes and would remain in Boise until after Thanksgiving break. Redacted said he was willing to talk to a detective about his involvement with this case. Redacted said he did not have a roommate at his Queen Road apartment and that he lives alone. I recorded our conversation with my dash camera and BWC. The videos were uploaded to the WatchGuard server. I attached the audio file of the voicemail. Redacted left me to this case through Spillman. And then I certify, declare, all that stuff. On 11/14/22, I responded to the area of King Road and Queen Road. I photographed and looked in the 3 dumpsters in the area outside Redacted King Road, 1122 King Road, and Redacted King Road. All 3 dumpsters were located on the street. All 3 dumpsters were located on the street. I saw nothing of evidentiary value in the dumpsters. I photographed them and cleared the area. ISP later pulled the trash pursuant to this investigation. Some blood was located on the 2nd floor at Redacted Taylor Avenue. At Taylor Ave, Redacted Taylor Ave is commonly referred to as the Whites and is a known party location. It's late in the day, guys. Please bear with me. The blood was isolated to one area with no trail to either area. Wait, the blood was isolated. Wait. Some blood was located on the 2nd floor at Redacted Taylor Ave. Redacted Taylor Ave is commonly referred to as the Whites and is a known party location. The blood was isolated to one area with no trail to either area. I photographed the blood and notified on-scene investigators. Officer House and I walked various areas around the crime scene looking for evidence. Officer House and I found nothing of evidentiary value. Photos attached. On November 15th, 2022 at 0930 hours, myself and Detective Mowry responded to the corner club at Redacted to contact the owner. Redacted. This was a prearranged meeting to view video from the evening of November 12th to the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The purpose was to confirm that Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez were at the corner club as had been reported and tried to identify individuals seen on the grub truck video later in the morning, specifically a male who appeared to be accompanying them. Upon arrival, Redacted already had the video up on the screen and queued to the proper time frame. Detective Mowry began scrolling through the video, which consisted of multiple views and multiple screens that were all in time sync. We determined that Gonzalez and Mogan arrived at the corner club at 22:20 hours in a Prius type vehicle with one other unidentified female. The vehicle was determined to be an Uber vehicle and the driver identified. Gonzalez and Mogan mingle around the bar, spend most of their time in the front along the bar next to the left, and as you face the bar. They make occasional trips to the restroom and speak to several people as they mingle. At 0022 hours, Kaylee paid her bar tab using her credit card, which consisted of 9 well vodka and 2 odd juice. Redacted provided a copy of the receipt. At approximately 0100 hours, Kaylee engages in a conversation with a subject identified by bar staff as Redacted. Redacted was seen with Gonzalez and Mogan in the grub truck video later in the evening. This appeared to be a consensual conversation, and it appeared they knew each other. At approximately 0114 hours, Mogan joins in the conversation, and all three remain generally in the area of the bar near the wall. Nothing stood out during that time, and both appeared to know Redacted. At 0131 hours, Redacted paid his bar tab with his credit card consisting of 5 can/BTL and 2 kamikaze. After paying, he walked to the back of the bar, went into the restroom, came out and retrieved his coat, and came back to an area near the exit where Gonzalez and Mogan were waiting. Redacted waited in the background while the girls finished conversing with others. Then they all exited the building at 0137 hours. The parking lot camera shows them walking away together across, then out of the parking lot in a westerly direction. They were all dressed the same in the grub truck video, with Redacted wearing a white or very light colored hoodie with a brown coat over it. While reviewing the video, we also recognized Redacted, who was reported to be Gonzalez's ex-boyfriend. We did not track his movements in the video, but he appeared to spend most of his time at the opposite end of the business, seated with several other males. At one point, there appeared to be a brief interaction with Gonzalez that looked cordial, and in passing, Redacted left at 0151 hours with 2 other males. Also noticed in the video was a subject seen in the grub truck video. I recognized him because of his unique sweater and long hair and beard. He was identified as Redacted by bar staff. He checked out at 000 hours using a credit card in the name of Redacted, showing 2 micro tub. I didn't notice any interaction between Redacted and Gonzalez or Mogan. A third subject who was seen in the grub truck video was also observed in the corner club, but we were not able to identify him. He is a stocky build white male with brown hair and facial hair, wearing a brownish sweater. I did not observe any interaction between him and Gonzalez or Mogan. Because of the video file was extremely large, Detective Mowry was unable to copy it to an external storage device. We left the business, and Detective Mowry is working on obtaining a usable copy of the video for a closer review. I have attached the bar receipts provided by Redacted. All right, guys, that's all I'm going to have for this video. Tomorrow, we will jump in right away into this document here, which is sequence number 14, and we will keep it going. It is July 28th. We are going all the way to the 31st, but we will get through all of these documents. I do promise that. So I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you later. Bye.